Hello and welcome back. Today we are talking about stage 4 on the growth journey. And stage 4 is called, the places you'll grow. In stage 3, we talked about how there are growing pains. But if we can just push through them, we are going to grow and flourish and start achieving our potential. In stage 3, you may have realized that you are not in a supportive environment. And when you move into stage 4, you're now actively seeking a supportive environment. You may not have found it yet, but you're identifying features that make you realize your environment either is or isn't supportive. And you're seeking out those areas that are going to support you. This may look like looking for a new job. This may look like finding people that will come beside you on your growth journey. Additionally, in stage 4, you now have an increased sense of self. With that increased sense of self may come a lower tolerance for things that go against your values or for people who devalue you. Again, this may have caused you to start looking for a new job, new friendships, new peer groups, because you now value yourself so much more than you used to, that you may have lost some friends and you maybe won't put up with the things that you used to. And that's okay, right? That's actually great. That's amazing. And so we now need to fill that need for support. So how do we know if we're in stage 4? Well, are you advocating for yourself more? Have you identified those features of what would be a supportive environment for you, even if you haven't made that a reality? And do you have confidence both in yourself and the value that you bring to the world? If you can say yes to all of those questions, you are probably in stage 4. Now, when we're in stage 4, that's wonderful, but we want to move, right? We want to progress. We want to keep growing because that is our goal in life, right? We want to keep growing. So how do we do that? Well, we make sure that you're in a growth-focused community. If you haven't watched my other videos, please go back and do so. I've talked a lot about the Seedling Lab. I would love to have you. As somebody who's in stage 4, you will be such a great model for people who are behind us, right? In those other stages that haven't quite made it to stage 4, to cheer people on and help them to see that they can move through this growth journey. Now, hopefully, you have fully embraced a growth mindset. You have understood that growth environment. If you haven't completed the material on creating a growth environment, you could do that course. But the course that's going to be the most beneficial to someone in stage 4 who wants to move to stage 5 is going to be the course on creating a growth capacity. And in this course, we are going to talk about building on the consistency that started at the end of creating a growth environment and stepping outside of our comfort zone. If we only do things that are inside our comfort zone, if we only do things that we know we can do and succeed at, that doesn't help us to continue growing. So we want to look at how we can build on that. We're going to talk about the importance of a mentor. Hopefully by this point in time, you can identify someone that you consider a mentor. But we're going to talk about how we can't keep growing if there's no one ahead of us. When you're in the early stages, it's pretty easy to find people to follow. But as you move through this growth journey, it's going to become extremely important to become picky about your mentor, but also to have someone as a mentor. People that are ahead of you can help show you the way and speed up your growth and your learning. But the further you go along this growth journey, the smaller the pool of potential people who could mentor you is going to become. We're going to talk about how you find a good mentor, what you look for, and what makes a good mentoring relationship. We're going to talk about reflection. I know I've mentioned several times that we want to reflect on our growth, and we're going to dive deep into reflecting and making a habit of reflection. We'll talk about trade-offs, because everything in life requires a trade-off. Now, sometimes those trade-offs are really easy to make and they don't cost a lot. But the further you go on your growth journey, those trade-offs become much more risky, right? Is it worth it to quit your job? Is this new job going to be worthwhile? Maybe you make the decision to quit your job and you don't even know where you're going next, but your environment is so toxic that you just have to get out of it, right? So we're going to talk about trade-offs, and we're going to think about how we determine a good trade-off from a bad trade-off, because not every trade-off is worth making. And then finally, we are going to talk about adding value to others. We want to share what we've learned on our growth journey, but also when you pour into the lives of other people, it benefits you as well. So we'll talk about how that can benefit you. Now, I also talked in the last video about from striving to thriving. You might still be in a place in stage 4 where you haven't completely identified your sweet spot, where your past experiences, your strengths, abilities, and gifts, and your core values come together and really hone in on one area to excel instead of trying to do things that are not within that sweet spot. So if you haven't discovered that yet, then you may consider doing the From Striving to Thriving course. All right, so in stage 4, you are actively seeking a supportive environment. You are actively growing, and you are starting to advocate for yourself. I hope that's you. If not, I would love to see you join in on this growth journey and get to this point and beyond. So in the next video, we're going to talk about what does it look like to be in stage 5. I hope to see you there.